I want to ask you about Kamala Harris. Of course, she came out against what is happening in Iran, but she's making time to gush over anti-ICE protesters. Look at this.
In Minneapolis, just look at what we've been seeing. It's so fantastic. People coming out with their whistles, their smartphones, and videotaping, and with perfect strangers and in aiding perfect strangers. It's been so beautiful to see. And again, this is what I mean about we have the light inside of us. Like we got to focus on this.
Joe, can I get your reaction to Kamala Harris there?
Well, she either has very bad minders or she has no minders at all. I mean, that kind of conversation is not very helpful, Gabriella. I mean, to suggest that getting rid of America's illegal aliens is a matter of finding the light within us. I mean, that's a bit of a stretch. Look, the Democratic Party doesn't want to see her face in 2028. I don't know who's telling her to keep running. I mean, I suppose she has some friends within the organization, but she took the party down to historic defeats. They don't want to see her again. And frankly, if she wants to go and talk about, law and order issues, there are other things to talk about. And I think she should just sort of enjoy her retirement or find another job or something like that. But this idea of leading the protests against ICE, there may be legitimate causes there, but this idea that we're finding the light, that's just a little too flaky for a lot of people.
She's very flaky, isn't she? I know you suggest she goes and gets a new job. I can't see that happening. I think we're going to be seeing more of Kamala Harris over the next few years. Former President Bill Clinton, he has been grilled over the photographs of himself in a hot tub that was discovered in the newly released Epstein files. Let's just take a look. And Joe, I'm really keen to get your reaction to all of it. We've got a few clips to get through, but this is the very start of Bill Clinton explaining who was there, what on earth was going on.
So do you recall the details of this photo, recall the photo being taken?
No, I don't think I ever knew the photo was taken.
And let's just look at the next one.
He wanted, when he knew I was coming, and he said he wanted to help me with my AIDS initiative, and he invited me to stay there. And he said, I want you to stay at this hotel, and I hope you'll use the pool. So I did. And then I got out and went to bed, exhausted.
He chuckles, lol, exhausted. And then, of course, he was asked, were there other people in the pool or the hot tub?
Were there other people in that pool or hot tub with you as well?
I don't think there's anybody in the hot tub. I didn't forgotten that there was anybody in the hot tub, but it was big, but it was about.
Well,
he's asking you in the pool area.
It appears this photo, there's a girl over here. Or there's someone.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
But he's also asking in the pool area whether other individuals.
I don't know who that is.
Bill Clinton claims that he was in the hot tub for 5 minutes before going, of course, straight to bed.
We went out, I swam around, I sat in the hot tub for 5 minutes, or whatever it was, and I got up and went to bed.
And then I have to ask this, did you engage in any sexual activity with this person?
End of story. Joe Siracusa, look, what did you make of that?
Well, he did not acquire the sobriquet Slick Willie for nothing. I remember him wagging his finger at the American public saying that he did not have sexual relations with that woman. I mean, Bill's got a little problem. He had a problem then, he has a problem now. He looks a little silly. He could have had some better answers, and he's very angry that he's there. Hillary was very angry that she was there. He could barely conceal that, as a matter of fact. But this idea of floating in a tub with strange women and not being able to explain anything, the American people aren't as silly as they look sometimes on television. I mean, they know one thing from the other. And, I always I credit to Bill Clinton something that a lot of people probably don't credit, and that is he began the decline of the imperial presidency. When I was a kid, we had some pretty class acts like General Eisenhower in the White House, and then John Kennedy. We had professional politicians. He comes along, governor from Arkansas, And he obviously has some problems, personal problems. His own campaign manager said after all the Monica Lewinsky business that he's just not that kind of dog that stays on the porch when the lights go off, and he's just the wrong guy. And he brought the presidency into disrepute. He should have been impeached. He could have easily been impeached, and so he sort of degraded the presidency a little bit. People were always in awe of the office, and I think he inspired a lot of people to go for it after that because you had to have real credentials to become president of the United States. Bill didn't have any, and when he got in, he started to do a pretty good job, and then the economy became fairly prosperous. And so, but when he started to get caught out lying, whether it was real estate deals, one thing or the other, and he just lied to the camera, and he obviously lied under oath. And the American people just sort of lowered the threshold for the White House after that. And keep in mind that while he had a good economy, well, a lot of presidents have a good economy. Keep in mind that Wall Street, since I think Bill Clinton's time, have been able to separate the White House, the soap opera in the White House, from the fundamentals of the American economy. That's why sometimes Wall Street doesn't care who's in the White House, as long as the economy works. And Bill, he did not do a very good job there. And the world wants to wake up or go to bed at night and wake up thinking that the United States is in good hands. And with Clinton towards the end of it, I wasn't sure. And frankly, I was a little embarrassed about him.
And you mentioned that Hillary Clinton was angry that she was getting asked questions about this too. Let's just look at her meltdown after testifying on Epstein.
There are photos that are being released of the secretary as she is testifying from inside this room. Can you please advise me as to whether or not that's permissible and consistent with the rules, particularly given that we have asked for a public hearing? If there are photos that are being released of the secretary as she is testifying, can you please explain how that can occur?
I'm done with this. If you guys are doing that, I am done. You can hold me in contempt from now until the cows come home. This is just typical behavior.
We will go off the record.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
So I would like to understand how that's permissible.
It doesn't matter. We all are abiding by the same rules.
I will take that down.
Yeah,
So
well.
I would like to take a break at this moment.
Yeah,
I'd like to have
I'm
a
done
conversation.
for now.
Oh, no. Joe Siracusa, you've lost control and you're waving your finger, you're pointing, you're slamming your hand on the desk. What is she just having a meltdown?
Yeah, she is. She gave it all away there when she said, "You can find me in contempt until the cows come home." She knows that they know things that she can't really talk about. And look, she exhibited the same characteristics. It was the same act after Bill got caught. And a lot of Americans came to the conclusion, and I was one of them, that she either knew what was going on and was complicit, or she was as dumb as a doorknob. And so either way, they didn't want her in the White House. And so now she's playing stupid again. Like, Epstein was just a little playmate of her husband's. And she knew Ghislaine Maxwell pretty well, I suppose. But keep in mind, to be fair to Hillary and the others, Epstein was giving money away to all kinds of people. He was throwing all kinds of luxuries out there. And, he's got his own airplane, his own magic island. It would have been just too much for some of these people to resist. But Hillary didn't need Epstein. Bill did. Bill liked the idea that this guy was stroking his ego and giving money to his philanthropy and helping him out and all the rest of it. I just think in recent years, presidents, I think, make some very bad choices. Once again, they had better minders. They would have stayed away from guys like this. And look, Epstein was... before he got caught in 2008 and then later on, he was sort of a creepy guy anyway. I mean, he used to hang around with all the wrong people. Gabriella, there is a Harvey Weinstein documentary I saw on Air China coming back from Berlin once a couple of years ago. And it had a picture of Weinstein, Epstein, and dare I say, President Trump, all sitting at the same table at Club 54, one of those renowned night spots. And, and if you had money and you passed through New York, that's where you hung out. And so, you would know these people whether you wanted to or not, whether you knew about their private lives or their secret sins or their crimes. Who would know? I mean, you have absolutely no idea. When people say on profiling, no one knew this guy was a serial killer, it's quite possible to be sitting next to somebody and know nothing. On the other hand, it's impossible to imagine everyone around you is as thick as you are, too. I mean, somebody must see what's going on. And Hillary got caught out, didn't want to be there. Bill got caught out and didn't want to be there. It's very embarrassing for the end of their careers, they're going out on a very sour note because Americans can see one thing, that they're squirming like hell at deposition. They're not even in Washington. They're in some little hokey town near Albany, New York, which used to be the circuit for speakers in the 19th century. And so, they stayed away as much as possible. A number of their supporters said that they would run circles around the committee. But as you can see from the two clips you showed in your packages, they didn't run rings around the committee. The committee was asking all the right questions. Hillary and Bill just spit the dummy. And I bet they couldn't wait to get out of the room. And keep in mind, one was there for 6 hours, and the other one was there for 7 hours. You imagine grilling somebody for 7 hours and seeing that kind of behavior. I mean, it's not only difficult work, but it's embarrassing to watch.
Professor Joe Siracusa, political analyst, thank you so much for joining us on Power Hour. Always great to speak with you.
Thank you.